Hello, Gaston County. Welcome to episode number 71. It is 71, right, Naomi? Okay. Of Gaston's Great, a podcast highlighting some of the great things happening in and around Gaston County. I'm your host, Stephen Long, and we are coming to you once again from the international headquarters of GSM Services right here in downtown Gastonia as we look forward to having more great discussions in the coming weeks and months. We simply believe in discussing more of the reasons why Gaston's great. We have another great organization this week as we highlight the Mount Holly Community Garden. We have Erin Denison with us today, who is the garden president. Erin, it's great to have you on, and welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here today.
So we're going to get started right away. So Erin, if you don't mind, just tell us a little bit about yourself, anything you'd like to share.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you again for having us today. We're really excited to be highlighted here. My name is Erin Denison, again, the current garden president at the Mount Holly Community Garden, and I've been with them pretty much from the start. So this is going on our 8th growing season, and very, very proud. It's definitely a passion project of mine. I am not, believe it or not, from Gaston County or from North Carolina. I'm a transplant from Ohio. Grew up in Northeast Ohio, a little small town called Poland, right outside of Youngstown.
Okay.
And it's really interesting because Mount Holly reminds me a lot of where I grew up in Poland. Both very small towns, both very connected to its people, but just a little bit different.
But like most people, you couldn't get here fast enough. Right?
Exactly. So we've been down here 14 years. My corporate job in another lifetime brought us here via West Virginia and New Hampshire. So moved quite a bit. When we got here to North Carolina, Charlotte was where we needed to go. And we really picked Mount Holly, honestly, for the Whitewater Center. Very outdoorsy family. We've got a husband, Chris, 2 kids, Eamon and Nora. And we really just love the way the community connected with nature there. But then we found out there was so much more to offer. So, Again, been here 14 years. We love every moment of it. Built a home. We are not leaving anytime soon. I think this is going to be where we're going to root down forever. And I have a background in culinary arts, believe it or not. I do cook on the side as a chef. I do lots of programming, teaching personal and private chefing, which really ties in great to the growing at the community garden. And I also work right now for Hill's Pet Nutrition. I'm a regional trainer for the pet food industry for their e-commerce site. So doing a lot of things, wearing a lot of hats, but I'm very happy to do it.
Yeah, that's quite a list.
Yes.
So we appreciate you sharing that. So let's get right into the organization. So kind of obviously, I think people hear community garden that they're going to have a vision of a community garden they're familiar with or something maybe they've experienced. So what is the Mount Holly Community Garden and kind of what's the mission? And then maybe get into your specific role. What is it? What does being the president all entail?
Absolutely. Well, our garden is fabulous. It is just, we're so proud of it in Mount Holly. It's really become a little central gem right there on Main Street. Yep. A lot of people think community garden, they think, there's a bunch of garden plots. Everybody just tends to it. Some people think of more of an urban garden. Some people think of way out there in a rural area. And ours is a little bit of a combination of both. So we're really proud of that. But we have 52 raised organic beds. We're completely all organic. We use no fertilizers, no pesticides. Anything that has any type of chemical in it, we do not touch. Our mission is really to be a safe space in the community for all. We don't discriminate against anything. We welcome everybody of all ages, all incomes, all abilities, and all backgrounds. So we definitely want to be that place of inclusion for everybody. But our really main focus is just to foster some really great environmental stewardship, be a place of learning and growing, and also being a really great spot in the community for fellowship and getting to know your neighbors. Growing just is a nurturing thing to do, and it really brings out the best in people. So we do a lot of classes there. We want to show people how easy it is to grow their own food, where your food comes from. We also do flowers. We have pollinator gardens. All these wonderful things in nature really do encompass every part of our lives, and I don't think people really realize that. So we want to teach everybody and be a beacon of that in the community and just help everybody learn and grow.
Okay, that's a lot to take in.
Yes.
For a what the engineer guy here is saying is a community garden. Let's just grow a few things, right?
Right.
So tell me, what is your role? What is the role of the president? I'm assuming you have a board or a group that's obviously, I mean, and I'm cheating because I did go on the website and saw some of this beforehand, but
Yes.
so it looked like a very vibrant and good board you have. So kind of, can you explain some of that?
Absolutely. I'll go back to where we began in the very beginning. So this was a vision of some really great stellar community members in Mount Holly. Way back, we're talking 10 years back, again, we're in our 8th growing season. There were some conversations with some of our legendary locals. We've got Lee Brinkley with the Mount Holly Farmers Market, Scott Griffin with the Mount Holly Farmers Market, Bobby and Melanie Black. Bobby's a former mayor, Melanie's a former teacher, and they just wanted to do a little bit more in the community. And again, the farmers market was already started. They were under the umbrella of the Mount Holly Community Development Foundation, which is another fantastic organization in our town. And they thought, where can we make a really cool garden? We want to have people, be able to have a space. Maybe they don't have it at their home. Maybe they don't have the land. Maybe they're in an apartment or a condo. And all 4 of them are really passionate about growing. Their yards are gorgeous. Their gardens are gorgeous. They're personal ones. But they wanted to just kind of branch out a little bit more. So under the umbrella of the Community Development Foundation and the umbrella of the Mount Holly Farmers Market, they allowed us to have a subcommittee and get everything started. So their first line was to find a spot, and there was a wonderful, perfect spot right next to the First United Methodist Church right on Main Street in the heart of Mount Holly. It used to have a home on it, and it was raised, and nothing was there. It was also between another building, which now houses Finish Line Church. And so they went ahead and talked to the church and said, hey, we really want to do something cool there. We want to have a community garden. What do you think? And with their blessing, they allowed us to make that community garden there for a very small, minimal fee. Their biggest thing is they just wanted to make sure that it got off the ground, and it was a really great thing that kept going and really blossoming throughout the years and didn't just go by the wayside. So those really were our big founding members. How I got involved was my son Eamon was at the preschool at the First United Methodist Church. Okay. So I was walking in on our first day. Again, we're transplants. We don't really know many people at that point. And I see this group over there talking, and this wonderful gentleman walking in with his grandson right in front of me starts talking to me and like, hey, how are you? Introduced himself, and it was Scott Griffin, and otherwise known as Mr. G in Mount Holly. He's a legend. And so we started talking, and his grandson Jax and my son Eamon kind of started talking because they were in class together. And he was telling me, oh, those are my friends up there. We're getting ready to start a community garden. You want to come up there and see what it's all about? And I said, sure. So it was serendipitous. It Gotcha. Was all the stars aligned. And that was really the center of me getting involved with this project. So went up there, met the wonderful people that were there talking about what they were going to do. And, Bobby and Mel were like, hey, can you come tonight? We're having a board meeting. We need to get some board members. What do you think? So I'm like, I'll come in and learn about it. So we had this wonderful meeting, and the rest was history. So we still have a wonderful board. Melanie and Bobby kind of rolled off, they're retirees and spending more time with their family, but they really laid a great foundation for us to take over. I served as the VP the whole time under Bobby, so he really taught me a lot. But we, again, have a wonderful board now of volunteers, and we are all completely funded with donations from the community. The garden bed leases, which we do, they're $60 a year, which is pretty affordable. We do also offer scholarships for those that have low income. We want to make sure it's attainable for everybody. But then also grants. I've got really good at grant writing over the years, and where we can find money, we will find it. And it's been a really wonderful, but just the heart of the garden is the gardeners, and it's the volunteers. We have a lot of volunteers. Again, our board is wonderful, but also just community members that maybe they don't even garden there, but they just want to come help and do whatever they can. So it's really become a strong player on our main street. And so going on after being under the umbrella of the farmers market, a few years in, we were about 2 years in, we ended up getting our own 501c3 nonprofit status. So we run fully under that right now, and we'll continue to do so.
Do I remember correctly? That was roughly, was that the 2015?
Yeah,
Okay.
it was 2015, 2016, about there. Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
I just remember seeing that date
Yep.
on the website. All right, so you covered a lot
I did.
right there. So, and you've mentioned a couple things already. I have some follow-up questions about a couple
Sure.
things you said, but talk about maybe more specifics on some of the initiatives. I mean, you mentioned some education.
Yes.
Maybe are there organizations that you're involved with?
Yes.
That what the garden touches, and just kind of some of the initiatives or programs might be a better word.
Sure.
For maybe for what you guys are doing. Can you talk a little bit about that?
We do so much. It's hard when you
Sure.
start to quantify it all. It's really overwhelming. But first and foremost, we're a garden. We mentor our gardeners. So we have people that are beginners, never ever planted a seed, never planted a plant, all the way to North Carolina master gardeners there.
Okay.
So we want to educate everybody there. We do have free programming. Now, COVID kind of threw a wrench in that plan. We're starting to build that back up. But prior to COVID, we had a really strong programming department. We had things like kids program. We had our, yoga in the garden. We partnered with Rachel Harper over at On Track Yoga. She would come and do yoga in the garden. We did a lot of really great cooking demonstrations. I, would show people seasonally, well, you're growing it. Now what do you do with it? All of these free to the community. We had storybook telling days and art days and all these wonderful things that we'll continue to do. Some of the other things that we love to do there is partner with some of our local organizations and help give them food. So
Okay.
we also give back to our local Mount Holly CRO, our food bank there. We are one of their only providers of fresh produce. We will do that year-round because we do year-round gardening here. The North Carolina gardening zone, which is 7B here in Gaston County, it does allow for year-round gardening. So we're pretty fortunate there. Where I grew up in Northeast Ohio, we didn't have that.
A little bit different weather there.
We did. So we do partner with CRO. We ask all of our gardeners to at least give 10%. A lot of them are giving more of their garden bed per year to the CRO. We also partner with Meals on Wheels. But we have worked with Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts of America. We have worked with our local PD and fire departments. One of our really great projects we did was we helped Ida Rankin Elementary School revitalize their garden in the back. All of the third graders had gone through the gardening program. They got to garden, they got to grow. There's lessons around it. Then they got to taste and eat. So wonderful things, but we're trying to just more than just have our spot and it look beautiful and be a place to garden. We really want to, get our fingers in everything in the community. Any way that we can outreach and educate, pull people in together for more of a sense of community and belonging, we will.
Okay, very good. So again, got a lot going on. So earlier you mentioned 52 raised beds.
Yes.
That seems like a lot.
It is.
Compared to other community gardens that I've seen or been involved with. So how big of a space is this? And how big is a bed maybe?
Yeah, sure.
And I think being all raised, is that kind of a unique thing as well for that?
So that's a great question. So the raised gardening allows for, when you have a plot like that, you want to make sure we've got this red clay here in North Carolina.
Yeah. It's great.
So I know.
For not much.
Something I've had to get used to over the years.
Great for foundations of houses.
Arch nemesis. It's really, really crazy, but not the best pH levels, mineral levels,
Right.
and content for growing. So raising the beds allow us to be a lot more efficient. We get a really great organic soil in there. And that allows for drainage and allows to keep, the soil is really the heart of the garden. A lot of people don't realize that, but the soil quality is the heart of the garden. So that allows us to bring our soil in and get off of that, raise it up off the clay. So you've got the, ultimate garden bed there ready to go, and it's going to give you the best results. So that's one thing.
And just to clarify, when you say raised,
Yes.
I mean, I think a novice might think that means off the ground.
It is.
Up. So how? Yeah. So just gotta describe that. I mean,
they're about 2.5 feet off the ground.
Okay.
Most of the beds there are they're about 4 by 10 and 12. But the one really great thing is we do have adaptive beds there. We have a section that are raised fully to where an adult standing completely off the ground.
Okay.
So we think of people with mobility issues, elderly,
Gotcha.
or any type of issues where maybe bending over might be an issue. But the cool thing about our adaptive beds is they also raise and lower. So we do have, we've had gardeners in wheelchairs before. Of all abilities is one of the big things. We want to make sure everybody can garden, and we will adapt to that for them. So, It's wonderful.
So, who do you have leasing the base the bases? This is a baseball podcast that I just created. Leasing the bed. So, who's involved? I mean, is it individuals, organizations, families, churches? I mean, just
all of it.
Okay.
All of it.
That's
So
what I figured.
how we operate, and I was talking a little bit earlier before we started, every community garden runs completely different.
Absolutely.
Some community gardens will just call out for volunteers. They'll grow, and whoever's in the community comes and picks it. It's a free-for-all. Some people are more of a private gated organization where it is, you've got a gate code, only those people can go in. What we do is we've got the 52 raised beds. The lease is $60 a year. Again, if people are interested and they don't have the money, we do have scholarships for them. So everybody with every economic status is welcome at our garden. And then what they do is we provide the soil, we provide the water, we have the light, we have a communal shed, we have tools, we have a seed bank. We're always sharing, plants and clippings from other ones and really help each other out. But there's a lot of individuals of all ages. Okay. Some of our youngest gardeners are 1.5 years, 2 years old, just getting started with their family. And we've had gardeners, I think our oldest gardener was about 96. Oh, wow. So they're all ages, everything in between. But there are families. We do have some organizations. We do have some local businesses that do have beds in our garden. Smoke and Barrel Cigar and Whiskey Bar, they have a bed. They grow all their herbs there. They come over, they harvest them, they use them in, any of their spirits and cocktails there.
Interesting.
So really we partner with everybody. We have had churches in the past, groups, but really anybody that's interested can get involved.
Is it typically all 52 are being utilized? Is there a waiting list or?
Every single bed is being utilized.
Okay.
So typically we will do so. About a week or two from now, we'll be doing an all call for our next season.
Gotcha.
Now, the one thing about gardening is people don't realize it's work.
It's work, yes.
Yes, so sometimes, everyone's excited about the thought of gardening, and they get really excited about being a part of the community garden.
They're excited about the results of gardening.
Yes, and they'll come.
Not what's in between.
They'll plant, and then maybe they'll fall off the wagon. We won't see them again. Now, we, again, offer a mentorship program. We always partner new gardeners with, not our more master gardeners there. So no one's ever just left floundering there. We want everyone to be successful. But still, you've got to water. It's hot in the summer. There's a lot that goes into it. There's a lot of work. And some people really, really love it. It's my happy place. I get a lot out of it as a nurturer. And some people absolutely hate it. And that's okay. So every year we will have some open garden beds. And most years we will get to a waiting list. We do reserve 5 beds for the CRO just to make sure that, and Meals on Wheels and our organizations where we donate, just to make sure that we do have that. But yes, it's just, if you're interested, apply. And we will go ahead, and it's not really a vetting process. It's more of just, there's an application, there's garden rules and regulations, and then we'll get you, assigned a bed. And
obviously before we're done, we'll make sure our listeners know how to go about doing that.
Absolutely.
So one of the questions I like is, with your time at the community garden, can you think back about an interaction or a success story or something that you saw personally, whether it was CRO or, you already mentioned the Ida Rankin school, something you can share, an anecdotal story or something that this is where we made a big impact, or something that you can think of that kind of just share a success story, for lack of a better
We've
phrase.
had so many. It really does make my heart full. There's a lot of small interactions where, we may partner with, every year we get some volunteers from Ida Rankin that are doing their safety patrol project. And 9 times out of 10, they don't want to be around bees. So we get to let them know a little bit more about the bees and how important they are, and how to deal with them and how to be around them. And then
there's a lot more than just a stinger, right?
Yeah, and within a day or two, they're in love with the bees and they're not running from them anymore. But I think one of the most heartwarming things for me really was about two seasons ago. We had a new gardener. She was new from Atlanta, and she was by herself, young, single in a new town, and really never gardened before. And so I saw her over at the garden, and she's got her mother in Atlanta on FaceTime. She's got her new little garden stool and her new little tools in her bag and everything. She was so excited to start gardening, that she had her mother on FaceTime watching her plant, and her mother was walking her through because her mother was a big gardener in Atlanta. And when she got her first pepper, was crying tears, just couldn't believe that, oh my gosh, like I was able to do this all on my own. And really, really became an active part of the garden. I think another really great success story that I can think of is we partnered several years back with Claremont Hospital with their cancer center. I had done a couple food demonstrations there with their wellness department and got to know that team over there. And we did help them revitalize a little shrub area that was dying into a garden there. So their patients can come, they can have a little bit of respite out there while they're going through their treatments. They can also help tend to the garden. Gardening also is a really great way for a good mental wellness balance.
Sure. Distract you from all this wackiness everywhere else in the world.
Absolutely. So that was a really proud moment there working with that cancer center. I lost my father to cancer, my father-in-law to cancer, so it really touched my heart to be able to give back that way and give back a little bit more than just physically at our garden site. And those are some great success stories.
Unfortunately, it would be hard-pressed to find somebody who's probably not been impacted by cancer in some way.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we were really thankful to give back. And but no, those, just those little moments where, those aha moments, or when people think, I just can't believe I did that. I can't believe I grew that. Or, just finding a little bit of beauty in the nature, especially in the world today and just kind of the climate that we're in. It's fantastic. I think they're all successes.
Well, good. And like so many organizations that we've had the good fortune to speak to, oftentimes it's the core is obviously the gardening, but the result and the impact can be, it can affect people in so many other other ways besides just growing some food. Right?
Yes, absolutely. Right. Every year I think, I might have another year left in me to lead this, ship. And then I keep saying, it's what keeps me there. Yeah.
Well, very good. So, looking ahead,
sure.
I know that classic question is 5 to 10 years down the road, but doesn't necessarily have to be 5 to 10 years down the road. What do you see the garden looking like, organization? Are there any big plans for the future, or anything you'd like to share there?
Sure. I think our biggest thing right now we're already working on is getting our programming back to where we were pre-COVID times.
Gotcha. Okay.
Since we do have a lot of gardeners of all ages and all abilities, we want to be aware, COVID's still around, there's still things out there. So we're just easing back into it. So plans, we're already writing grants and, working with other organizations to kind of get the funding to bump that up again. So that's another great thing to come. We'd love to see all those programs happening. The one thing that I could see us really growing on is, again, just deepening our roots in the community. We want to get even more involved. And I think
that was good. No pun intended.
Yeah,
either.
No pun intended there. But it's just, really, I think that we love to share what's going on in our community, not just for ourselves, but we're only as good as the community around us. So we want to get involved a little bit more, continuing to grow in those ways. One area I see we can grow in is, there's a really big art boom going on in Mount Holly right now. We've got a lot of great galleries happening, Arts on the Greenways here, Awaken Gallery with Emily over there doing really wonderful things. So I do see us, trying to get a little bit more artistic touches there, so we can get some visitation, maybe more interactive things there at the garden, and some unique different installations that people can come and really be a destination, not only to see the garden, but to go a little bit further there with the arts and tie that into what's going on in our community. So those are definitely on the horizon. I'm really excited to see what happens.
All right. Very good. It's good. I'm glad to hear there are some, and I do like hearing about whatever the new normal is. Mm-hmm. It might not be exactly the same, but let's kind of get back to some of that interaction, and good to hear that some programming is maybe coming back.
We're excited.
That you were doing. So, this is a podcast about Gaston County. Obviously, the focus today is Mount Holly, one of our great municipalities here. So, why would you, in your own words, you've shared so many reasons already, but why would you say Gaston County and Mount Holly is better because the Mount Holly Community Garden is here?
Absolutely. I think it really provides a really nice green space. We are right on Main Street. Mm-hmm. All the buildings are there. I cannot tell you how many people go by our garden not even knowing it's there. Yeah. So getting the word out, obviously there, but it is a green space where, you can come and enjoy it. So our gardeners lease the beds, they tend to the gardens, they take the harvest or they donate the harvest, but we want to welcome everybody there. We want people to come have lunch there. We want to, have events there, walk around, meditate, whatever you want to do there. We find that we are a great space for there because we're walkable. We're in the middle of the hustle and bustle. So instead of having to drive a little bit further to some of our parks or our, wonderful greenways that we have going on, we're right there. You could walk to the coffee shop, Catawba Coffee, and walk right across and not even realize that you're in, the city. So I think we offer a really wonderful space for that and for some rest and reflection during the day.
All right, that's very good. And that's a unique answer that we haven't had on all the previous 70 episodes. It's such a unique thing you have there in Mount Holly. So before we kind of shift gears briefly, is there anything I haven't asked, anything I should have asked? I think before we started, you mentioned an event coming up.
Yes,
absolutely. I want to make sure that you get the word out about that.
I've got that here on my list. So we started it in the beginning, and we wanted to do something festive. At that time, Mount Holly really just had their parade. There's not much more going on at Christmas time. In the years past, there was stuff, and it all kind of fizzled out. So we wanted to do something special for Christmas. So we thought, wouldn't it be fun to have all the beds decorated and invite everybody? So thus we made our Christmas Enchantment in the garden. And every single bed is decorated differently. The gardeners decorate their beds, and we also pair up with local artists and local business who also help decorate the beds as well. We light luminaries everywhere. We have live music. This year we have Ida Rankin's fourth grade chorus will start. Okay. We've got Kathy Black, who's wonderful. She used to be on Broadway. She's a local. And Jonathan Brackett doing some acoustic to close out the set. We've got wonderful food trucks there. We'll have Bolton's Curbside Cookery. We'll have Food Junkies Old-Fashioned Donuts. Catawba Coffee will be there as well. And we'll have a visit from the big guy. Santa will be there. So it is a free event for everybody in the community. It's just a way that we want to give back a little bit of merriment and joy in this holiday season. Everybody is welcome to come out. So that is on Saturday, the 10th of December from 5 to 8:30. You just have to come down. We'll have the front parking lot blocked off, so there'll be a space that'll be safe for everybody to walk around. If you do have kids, come see everything. Okay. Everything will be just dazzling and wonderful and beautiful. And people in the past have been like, it's kind of like walking through McAdenville, but it's in a garden. And so we'll go with that. But everything is very unique and different. People get very creative. One of our gardeners the other day, she started decorating, and I said, Ruth, is that Ruth Neely? She's a wonderful person in our community too. She had taken an umbrella that you put in like a table on your deck and took off the cloth, and she has a Christmas tree made out of a table umbrella. She's got, wow. Really creative, crafty, Duke's mayonnaise, container tops that are all her ornaments. So people get very, very artistic, very, very creative. We have everything under the sun there. So we encourage everybody. We want to invite everybody to come out. We would love to see everybody there again Saturday, the 10th of December from 5 to 8:30. Yeah,
this is good too, because oftentimes we have events that our guests are talking about, and sometimes the episode is released after. But This is perfect.
Perfect timing.
We're recording today is, I guess, the last day of November, the 30th. But you should be, whoever hearing this, it should be December 8th or 9th, Thursday or Friday when you're hearing this. So that's great to hear, and it sounds like a great event. So hopefully there'll be some listeners who have not heard about it.
Yes, and absolutely. I mean, when we started out our first year, we had a couple hundred people show up, and then we had about 1,000 people show up, and then about right before a peak of COVID, I mean, we had about 2,500 people that last one coming through. So it's a very big event because, again, at that time there was nothing. Now Mount Holly's really amped it up. We've got a lot of really great holiday things happening with the You'll Love Mount Holly going on now. So we're excited to be a part of it. We're excited to get a lot of encouragement as well from the city. So hopefully we'll have another huge attendance this year. It's free. Come out, enjoy some time with your family. Very good.
Anything else I haven't asked? Obviously, before we end, one of the last things we'll make sure that it'll allow you to share website or just anything to make sure our listeners can learn more, get involved, whatever the case may be. But we're going to shift gears here briefly, unless there's anything else that I've missed.
No, not really. I think it's just I think I would love people to know how much work goes on behind the scenes to make this happen.
Oh, sure.
It's hours, not just from the physical labor, but again, the grant writing, looking for donations. We cannot continue forward without funding. So we've had wonderful partnerships with, again, the Gaston County Community Foundation. We've had the community impact grant of Mount Holly. Fiskars has helped us out, our Mount Holly TDA. So, we want to shout out all those people that back us, because it is a lot more than just gardening. It is a nonprofit organization behind the scenes, and just really want to thank everybody there and thank everybody for all the support over the years, whether you were an organization who did some grant funding or a personal donor. But there's a lot behind it.
Sure,
there's
there
a lot
sure
behind
is.
it.
Yeah, nothing happens with just a few people out front, right?
No, not at all.
There's always more to it.
Sure.
So we're going to shift gears, and Erin, you've been transplanted long enough to be able to answer some of these questions. Maybe not all of them, but we will modify as needed. So we're going to call this is our first Mount Holly focused organization. This is the Mount Holly speed round of questions.
Yes.
Okay, are you ready?
Yes, I hope I still have friends after my answers.
This is what everybody, this is the other board members, your family,
Yes.
friends, everybody in Mount Holly. This is what they really want to know about you.
Yes.
So have you been to Tony's Ice Cream?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So what is your favorite Tony's ice cream flavor?
I am a Handel's ice cream girl.
Fair enough.
Yes. Handel's, believe it or not, is from my hometown. So,
oh, really?
My grandparents went on dates there. That's what I grew up with. When we got a Handel's here, it would be great. So, Handel's.
So, but a specific flavor?
Yes, absolutely. The Oreo and the chocolate peanut butter parfait.
Because I guess the Handles is relatively new on here in Gastonia. There's one, right?
Yes,
I haven't been.
Started back in 1942,
Okay.
give or take. But
So it just took us a while to get there. So
I'm sorry, Tony's. I do appreciate you in the community, but I am a Handel's girl.
okay, fair enough. Fair enough. I mean, can we give us something? Wah or something? There we go. So, have you been here? Have you had Sundrop or Cheerwine?
I have.
And
I love iced tea, but if I had to pick between the Sundrop and Cheerwine, I'd go Cheerwine.
Okay, yeah, me too. All right, favorite local restaurant?
I love our restaurants here. Gaston County has wonderful, wonderful restaurants. When I think about if
We
somebody
do,
says,
actually.
what's a really great restaurant to go to? If I'm thinking a little bit more upscale, Webb's comes to mind, Heirlooms come to mind. But I love the quick, easy grabs. I love the station in Belmont is really good.
The station is good.
I love the Pita Wheel. Papa Sammy's in Mount Holly has the best pizza. They're wonderful people too. So, don't discount those little ones there.
Absolutely. Yeah, Pita. Matter of fact, the
gosh.
problem with Pita Wheel for me is it's so close to here, the main one on Main Street. Yeah,
Yes.
it's I can practically walk there.
I'm really excited. They're getting a second location, or I think
It's a
third
third
location. Yes,
location, yep.
in Belmont. So that'll be a little bit closer to me there.
Yeah,
but
very good.
just those really quick bites. I love them.
So you can't answer gardening. So
Okay.
what's your favorite outdoor activity in Gaston
Absolutely.
County, or favorite park?
Yeah, I absolutely love taking it to the hiking trails. Love to be outside. Of course, we've got Crowder's Mountain, but Tuckasegee Park in Mount Holly is wonderful. They've done a wonderful job with the new greenway system there, connecting over to River Street Park. It's wonderful. Poston Park is great. But just really, the Rocky Branch over in Belmont too, what they're doing there is wonderful.
That is good.
But I love to be outside, love to be in nature. So anytime I could get on the trails, doing a little hike, whether it's in the forest or on the greenway, I'm there.
All right, very good. So this is my question. That I say the exact same thing every week, don't I?
That's okay.
This is my question. And you just have to deal with it. So I'm interested to hear what the Ohio answer is, and it better not be Ohio. But UNC Duke or NC State? Get ready.
I don't even want to go down that route. I'm a big Buckeye fan. Also, I have to shout out Iowa State as well. My nephew Cameron Smith.
The Cyclones.
Yes, he is on a full football scholarship, graduating early in December.
Oh, wow.
And he'll start his journey there in January. So, that is a really divisive question there. So,
How's that
Ohio.
how
Go
is that,
Buckeyes.
how is that divisive? There's only one correct answer.
You know, I have learned. I thought Ohio was pretty hardcore with their teams, and then I moved here, and I've learned about the UNC Duke and NC State rivalries. So,
all right, well, we'll move on then.
yes,
Maybe maybe some crickets.
I do want to say they're all fantastic organizations.
Thank you. Well, if everybody that knows me knows that we're NC State people here. And if you want somebody working in air conditioner, it needs to be NC State people, not Duke or Chapel Hill people. So
they're probably my favorite too. Just saying.
Well, very good.
Okay.
I knew this was a good episode.
Yep.
Naomi. Erin, what is something very few people know about you?
Oh gosh, there's a lot. Going back to the outdoor days, in my earlier years, I was an avid rock climber, believe it or not.
Oh,
wow. Multi-pitch, thousands of feet up in
my.
the air. I think starting a family kind of changes your view of risky behaviors like that. So definitely love doing that. And I love Bruce Lee kung fu movies. A lot of people are surprised by that.
Wow. That is definitely a first
yes,
on the
and
podcast.
I really despise yellow mustard. That's a thing that I don't even want it in my house.
Condiment issues.
Condiment.
Yeah, I'm never. I'm actually. I don't even know what to say.
Now
I'm stunned.
secret's out.
Yellow mustard. So, what about any other type of mustard that's acceptable, or just that word?
Yeah, it's just not a thing for me.
Okay, interesting. How about let's? Is it the color or the
everything?
Everything about it. How about a book or something you would recommend? Blog? I mean, podcast. Anything you might recommend to
sure.
our listeners?
Sure. I don't read a ton of books, just time wise. Obviously I have a lot going on, but I do love blogs. There's a really good one called The Horticult. It's a younger couple. They do a lot of it's more surrounded around gardening and outdoor lifestyle. They're really wonderful. Feast and West is another one that I love. Being having a culinary background. Susanna, she's a local, not too far from here, and it's all around cocktails and food. But her photography on the blog is it's stellar. It's stunning. So those are two that I really, really like there. Anything National Geographic. I love learning about the world, learning about nature, any of those sorts. But that's the ones that I can recommend.
Okay, very good.
Mm-hmm.
So I appreciate you indulging us on those local questions.
Yes.
So just a few more questions and we'll be wrapped up here. So besides the Mount Holly Community Garden, Erin, why would you say Gaston County and Mount Holly is such a great place?
Honestly, I think it's really the people. I have never been to an area with so many wonderful, welcoming people. Living in Ohio, Charleston, West Virginia, Nashua, New Hampshire here, I've kind of been around a little bit, and never did I so quickly connect to a community. And it's magical. It really, really is. Mount Holly is a little magical gem of a place. But I think that there's a lot of people like me who are transplants. So we have a lot in common. It's very easy to meet friends and find your people. And then you have the wonderful locals that have the amazing hospitality. I've never met so many warm, wonderful, welcoming people than the people who were born and raised here in Gaston County. And I do think that that is the heart of what makes Gaston so great, is really the wonderful people in the communities.
Sounds like a Gaston County card or something.
It's true.
Maybe we need to get you in touch with the travel and tourism.
It's so true, though. It's a wonderful.
That's well said,
place.
and I agree.
Mm-hmm.
That's
it's a wonderful place.
Very well said. I appreciate you sharing that.
Sure.
So, actually, this is the last question, and I say this every episode too. This is my favorite question. So, Erin, knowing what you know now, what advice would you give your 20-year-old self?
Oh boy, I would tell her and anyone around her and anybody young out there listening right now, when you're in things, they seem so big, but everything's temporary. Yeah. Everything's temporary. Everything is fixable. I think that we are given a gift of a new day when we have it. Time is fleeting, and you've got to keep your loved ones close because you never know when they're not going to be there anymore. But everything being temporary, those big things that you're in those moments that seem so big, they'll pass. and they will just be a little blip on the radar
Both
down the
good
road.
and bad, right?
Yes, both good and bad, looking back. And again, every day is a new day. Don't pigeonhole yourself in one spot. If you're unhappy, you have an opportunity to fix that. Every single day is a new day. So go forward with that. Remember, everything is temporary. This too shall pass.
Maybe we should just end the podcast right there on that one. I mean, that's a mic drop. Very well said.
Thank you.
I appreciate that. So, Erin, this has been really good. So, again, the main point here is to bring some recognition and get the word out about your organization.
Sure.
And so, what can you share with our listeners about where can they go to learn more? Maybe exactly where you're located. You mentioned it. I mean, obviously you're going on North Main Street and you're looking for it. You can't miss it.
Sure.
But just anything you'd like to share, social media, just anything and everything.
So our exact location is 126 North Main Street. Okay. If you look for the big white steeple on Main Street, that is the First United Methodist Church. And if you pull in the parking lot, you'll see our little sign, and our arbor is in the back. So that's where we're located there in Mount Holly. You can find information on mounthollycommunitygarden.com. That's our website. Okay. We're on Facebook and Instagram. If you need to email us, it's mtholly, so it's Mount MT. It's MTHOLLY communitygarden@gmail.com. Give us an email. Let us know. There's a lot of really wonderful information on the website, how to donate. It
is a good website.
Yeah, we could purchase a brick in the front. We've got engraved bricks in the front. We'll also, if you're interested in gardening, again, we will be starting our 9th growing season in January. Our seasons are considered January to December. So we will be looking for new gardeners. If you've never gardened before, don't worry. We'll hold your hand through it. We will walk you through. If you are an avid gardener, we would love you there, love your expertise, and just the mentorship and fellowship in the garden as well. So we look forward to that. And if you ever want to partner with us, or if you need us wherever you are, whether you're a school or an organization, another talk, definitely find us in those avenues, and we'll come out and talk and partner and help out. And again, deepen those roots in the community.
Well, very good. So before we wrap this episode up, any last words of wisdom or anything else you'd like to share about the garden or Mount Holly or Ohio State or?
Well, I think that if you haven't been to Mount Holly in a while, please come. All of our communities are really booming. I know when we first moved there, again, I had mentioned the Whitewater Center kind of attracted us to the area. Yeah. But the main street there was not much there.
Correct.
There were very few things. We walked into the City Cafe at the time, and it was like the record scratched, and the sheriff turned around. They're like, who are these new people? Now it is vibrant. Yeah. We've got wonderful, shops, Vintage Nest and Jack Beagles, Trouse, the Summit. We've got Catalyst.
I have recently made a trip to Trouse myself.
Oh, it's wonderful. Catalyst, Mercantile, the coffee shop. I mean, the list goes on and on. So I really encourage and invite everybody to come to Mount Holly. It's a very walkable place. Just park your car, walk around, see all the wonderful things going on in Mount Holly. Stop by our garden anytime. Anybody is welcome at any time at the garden. You don't have to be a garden member. You can come anytime. We do have a guest book. We have a little mailbox. You can sign in. We've had guests, from Gastonia all the way to China,
Oh, wow.
So we have had people all over the map visiting. So make sure you sign. Beautiful mural there, but just come visit Mount Holly. There's so much to offer there. It is really, over the last 10 years, even 5 years, just changed so much for the better. We've got a lot of really great things coming down the road in Mount Holly. We've got Old Mecklenburg Breweries coming, yep. Muddy River's moving. We've got the Riverhawk Brew Pub will be happening too. And we will be central to all of those things. So when you're walking, shopping, eating, we'll be right in the middle. So come see us.
Well, very good. So that's a great segue and way to end the podcast. And I agree. I mean, all of our little municipalities are terrific, and we're a very unique community, and Mount Holly's definitely one of them. And, my family actually grew up, my mother's side of my family she went to Mount Holly High School mm-hmm. and grew up in Lucia.
Yes.
Which is, just, I guess, I would officially between, Denver and Mount Holly yes. is really where that is. So, yeah, Mount Holly is a great community and a connection to my family as well. So I'm going to finish up with my own book or podcast recommendation. I'm doing a podcast recommendation this week. It's a podcast called Founders. It's hosted by a gentleman named David Senra. I think I'm pronouncing that right. But basically he has discussions about gentlemen or individuals or organizations that were the founders of organizations like Steve Jobs, or just as an example. But he's got a lot of episodes, and especially if you're connected to business at all, it's really, really good. And he typically picks a book, so you could find plenty of books if you listen enough of those episodes, if you're interested in that kind of thing. And my quote for the week comes from Melanie Beatty. I think I'm pronouncing that correct. And we're recording this the week after Thanksgiving, and I kind of wish I had done this recording actually on Thanksgiving and maybe release a special episode. That we didn't release one for that specific week, but it's on gratitude. And she said, "Gratitude makes sense of our past, brings peace for today, and creates a vision for tomorrow." So that almost sounds like something that Erin may have come up with what kind of some of the wisdom she has shared today. But gratitude is one of those things I think, man, I personally wish I could just live with more gratitude personally. It's something that I work on, but it's hard for me personally, but it can lead to just so many things. And frankly, if you really look around, for me personally, there are so many things that we should be grateful about and can be grateful about, and the Mount Holly Community Garden is one of those things. So to our listeners out there today, thanks so much for taking the time to listen to today's episode. Please continue to spread the word if you can about the podcast, and please don't hesitate to contact us here at podcast@gaston'sgreat.com. We're always looking for suggestions for future podcast topics and guests, and actually I think we got a couple suggestions from Erin there while she was talking talking about the garden. You can find the podcast and subscribe at the website, gastonsgreat.com, or anywhere you listen to podcasts. And please follow us on all our social media platforms. And apparently, Naomi says giving us a 5-star rating helps get the podcast noticed. Is that correct, Naomi? You could speak louder so people can actually hear you on the video. Oh, yeah. Many thanks to Erin for being our guest today. Gaston's Great is produced and brought to you by Naomi Hunt and Amy Anderson from GSM Services, and edited here locally by the Sumner Group. I'm your host, Stephen Long. Thanks again for hanging out with us, and please keep coming back to hear more reasons why Gaston's great.